Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner with me, Lydia, in my little crafty corner. So today we're going to be creating this really beautiful yet delicate looking card. To start with, I'm using the Floral Thanks from the new release, and this is such a beautiful little stamp set. Before I start stamping, I am going to condition my stamps, and I'm using the Stamp Conditioner Eraser from Altenew. This really does help with stamping solid images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Thanks outline sentiment from the stamp set, and I'm going to stamp that onto a piece of white cardstock. I'm then going to take the first layer of this beautiful little design that we have here and then pop it into place around the outline. For this layer, I am going to be using the Butternut ink. This is a really beautiful, soft yellow colour. So I'm going to ink that up and then stamp that into place so it fits around that Thanks sentiment that we have in the centre of the cardstock. So once I've done that, I'm then going to take the second part of the design and I'm just going to again pop that into place. It's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle, this one. I'm then going to stamp this one up using some pink pearl ink, a really pretty kind of muted pink colour, I would say. So I'm just going to again stamp that into position just around that Thanks sentiment. I can then take the third layer of the design, again popping that into place where it needs to be, using the layering guide if you do need it. The layering guide can be found on the stamp packaging. So I'm going to pop that into place, and for this one I am going to be using the Dewdrops ink. So I'm just going to ink that up nicely on the back of the stamp and then again just pop that into position before stamping that down into place. So once all the flowers have been stamped, I'm then going to take the foliage piece, so this is the bit with all of the leaves, again pop that into place where it needs to be. Again, make sure to check out your layering guide if you do need to. I'm then going to take the Firefly ink and I'm going to ink this one up using this really light green colour that I have. Again, pop that into place before popping that down into position. So once I've done that, I'm then going to add some shading, and to add my shading I am going to be using the Woodless watercolours from Altenew. So on top of the pink pearl, I am going to be using the Coral Bliss colour from the pencils, and as you can see I'm just kind of scribbling this colour down. I'm not worrying too much about where actual shading would be. I'm just kind of adding where I think would be the darkest, so that's mainly at the base of the petals or where they kind of overlap or when they're underneath the Thanks sentiment, because I kind of want to play around with that being in the forefront rather than the flowers. So for the yellow, I am going to be using the Honey Drizzle colour. This is one of my favourites. So again, I'm just adding the colour where I think it would be the most darkest even. I'm then going to take the Dewdrops pencil for the blue, and again just adding this shadow where I think it would be the darkest, so around the words and where the bases of the petals are. Once I've finished with the blue, I'm then going to move on to a green colour. So this is the grass fields, and I'm just going to go along the stems of the foliage and also at the base of all of those leaves. So it's kind of a scribble kind of colouring that I'm doing here. I'm not really worrying about it too much, but I do feel that it goes with the style of the stamp that we have. So once I've done that first layer, I then decided I wanted a little bit more shading on this. So for the pink colour that we have, I'm going to use the Heartbeat pencil. So this time I'm not going as far into the image as I did before. I'm just adding a really dark shade to the very, very base. I'm going to be using the Shadow Creek to add that really dark touch to all of the leaves and also down the stems as well, making sure that I don't miss any pieces because I kind of always do. So once I've finished with the green, I can then move on to the yellow. Now there wasn't a darker yellow, so all I've done is I've gone with an orange, and this is the Orange Cream. So again, I'm just going to add in that really dark colour around the letters and also at the base of the petals. And then last but not least, I'm going to take the Volcano Lake pencil and again add in some really dark shading there. Once that's all done, I'm then going to take the coordinating die. I'm going to pop that into place around the image and then add a little bit of tape so it doesn't shift while I run that through my die cutting machine. Now for the background, I'm going to be using the Geo Diamonds 3D embossing folder, and I'm just going to make sure that's nice and straight before I do run that through my die cutting machine, I'm just going to trim this until it's around about 3 3/4 by 5 inches. So I did take a 1/4 of an inch, around 1/2 an inch off each side, sorry. So 1/4 of an inch all the way around, or 1/2 an inch off just off one side. So one side on the top and the bottom. Okay, so now that I've confused you a little bit, once I've done that, I'm then going to take the foam tape from Altenew and I'm going to add that all over the little panel that we have there, and then pop that into place onto a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card base. I'm then going to take the Greatest Blessings stamp set, and I'm just going to take the Mama sentiment from there, and I'm going to stamp that into place onto our little die cut using some Obsidian ink. Once that's done, I'm just going to flip the die cut over, and I'm just going to be adding some foam tape behind. Now, you don't need as much foam tape as I'm using here. I did go a little bit overboard, but it's better safe than sorry, right? So once I've done that, I can remove all of the backing, and then I can pop that into place onto my card base. I just love how this looks at the minute, but I did want to add a little bit more detail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of glue to certain spots of the image, and I'm going to add some of the satin white sequins from Altenew just to add a little bit of interest to the overall design. So I really do hope that you liked the card and that you've enjoyed the video as well. If you do create a card that was inspired by this, it'd be great if you do share, because we really would love to see. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, crafty friend, Lydia here. Just popping in to say that you can get your daily dose of crafting tips, techniques, and tutorials just like this by subscribing to the Altenew YouTube channel. All you need to do is click on that little bell up there and you will never miss a video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.